All right, so let's talk about Ulysses. James Joyce's novel is, legendary for being brilliant and also for being impossibly difficult to read. So the big question is, how on earth do you take this massive, complex world and put it on a stage where people can actually connect with it? Well, that's exactly what we're looking at today, a modern stage adaptation that's trying to do just that. It wants to turn Joyce's epic into something powerful, accessible, and dramatic.
And right from the start, the play gives us this one really powerful idea to hang on to. This quote from the prologue, it just sets the whole thing up perfectly. Think about it. Odysseus, the Greek hero, wandered for 10 whole years to get home. But Joyce's Dubliners, their epic journey is packed into just one single day. We're talking June 16th, 1904, an entire odyssey in 24 hours. So who are these Dubliners? Well, this whole epic day centers on three main people: Stephen Dedalus, Leopold Bloom, and his wife, Molly Bloom. When we first meet them, it's dawn. They're all in their own separate worlds, just starting their day. They have absolutely no idea that the city of Dublin itself is about to act like a kind of puppet master, slowly but surely pulling their threads together.
And really, the heart of the story is this huge contrast between our two main wanderers. You've got Stephen Dedalus on one side. He's the young artist, totally wrapped up in big ideas and kind of lost in his own head, the perfect symbol of that modern alienated feeling. And then on the other side, you've got Leopold Bloom. He's the husband, grounded, compassionate, and just in the world around him. I mean, they could not be starting their days from more different places. So let's look at Stephen's world for a second. This quote just sums it up. He's this brilliant young guy, always dressed in black, and he's completely haunted by the death of his mother. He refused to pray for her when she was dying, and that guilt is just eating him alive. He feels like a total outcast from his religion, from his country. His mind is basically a war zone of guilt, poetry, and philosophy.
And then there's Leopold Bloom. Wow, what a difference. He's an advertising canvasser, and his morning is all about the simple, physical things in life. He's literally thinking about the kidney he's going to fry up for breakfast, and his very first act of the day? It's a small moment of kindness, bringing his wife Molly a cup of tea in bed. He is totally, completely grounded in the here and now.
Okay, so you've got these two guys on opposite ends of the spectrum. How does the day actually bring them together? Well, the city of Dublin basically becomes a character in its own right. It's bustling, it's alive, and it keeps pushing their paths closer and closer, creating this whole series of near misses and quick, fleeting encounters. It's like watching two magnets that just keep almost connecting.
Yeah, their worlds just keep brushing up against each other in these really interesting ways. First, you've got Bloom in a funeral carriage, and who's he riding with? Stephen's dad. Then they physically cross paths in this loud, chaotic newspaper office. And later, this is a great one, Stephen is giving this super intellectual lecture on Shakespeare at the National Library. And who walks by? Bloom. He just quietly passes through, and they actually share a look. You can just feel the tension building, right? And that newspaper office scene, man, it is just electric. The play actually projects headlines like this one right onto the stage to get across that frantic, chaotic energy. Just think about what that phrase means, vendors of daylight. It's this idea that the journalists, the ad men, they're not just reporting what's happening. They're literally packaging and selling reality itself, selling the story of the day to the city. It's just a whirlwind. And then right in the middle of all that noise and chaos, you get this. Paradox for breakfast? This is it. This is the first real spark between them. They have this quick, witty exchange about paradoxes. Now, it's a super small moment, but it is so important. It's the very first clue that these two guys, the artsy poet and the down-to-earth ad man, might actually be on the same wavelength, searching for the same kinds of truths.
So after a whole day of these near misses, it all finally comes to a head. We're talking late at night in Dublin's red light district, a place the book calls Night Town. It's surreal, it's chaotic, and here their paths don't just cross anymore. Nope, they collide, and they do it in the most dramatic way you can imagine.
This whole scene just spirals into this wild, nightmarish hallucination. First, Bloom is bizarrely put on trial for all of his private insecurities, even his grief over losing his own son. But then, in the middle of all this madness, a totally drunk Stephen smashes a lamp and everything just explodes into chaos. And this is the moment.
Bloom's deep-down decency just kicks in. He jumps in, protects Stephen from getting hurt, and right there, he becomes this kind of father figure to this lost, self-destructive young artist.
So after that absolute nightmare in Nighttown, the play's whole mood just shifts on a dime. Bloom takes Stephen back to his place, to the quiet of his kitchen, and we're left with this simple question. It's taken from a part of the play that's written almost like a church catechism, and it's the perfect way to move us from all that external chaos into the quiet internal connection that's about to happen.
And here's the answer, that the world being large is less lonely shared. It's so simple, but so profound. Over a cup of cocoa in the dead of night, these two incredibly lonely men find this moment of real, quiet understanding. For both of them, their long day's journey ends with this one powerful idea. The only real cure for the loneliness of the world is, well, each other, human connection. But wait, the day isn't quite over. After Stephen finally leaves, the story makes one last, absolutely crucial shift. The journey doesn't actually end with the two men. It ends with Bloom's wife, Molly. We find her lying awake in bed, and it's through her eyes that we get the final grounding perspective on everything that's happened.
And this brings us to Molly's monologue, which is, it's one of the most famous pieces of writing in all of literature. It's just this incredible, unpunctuated stream of consciousness, a total flood of thoughts, memories, and feelings. It is raw, it's powerful, it's so deeply human, and it gives us the story's final, life-affirming answer to the whole day's journey.
And get this, even though we know Molly had an affair earlier that day, her thoughts in the end all come back around to her husband, Leopold. She realizes that real, lasting love isn't just about big, dramatic passions. It's in the small things. It's the comfort, the steady kindness. Love is a door left on the latch. Love is a cup of cocoa waiting. It's that simple, reliable decency that Bloom offers. And that's ultimately what she says a big yes to.
Which leaves us with this final question to think about. What really makes an ordinary day epic? After all the wandering, the arguments, the chaos, and the quiet moments, what's the takeaway? Well, I think this play suggests that an epic isn't just some grand story about gods and heroes fighting monsters. It can be found right here, in a single ordinary day, on the streets of a city you know. And it's found in those small but totally profound acts of human kindness that connect us all and, just for a moment, make the world feel a whole lot less lonely.